Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking. This is our weekly masterclass where we talk about public speaking, both advanced topics and then some basic topics. Today is going to be more of an advanced topic, and our topic today is deliver your speech on a silver platter. Deliver your speech on a silver platter. And we're going to spell out the word sandwiches. If you know, one of the things I do is teach people how to create their speech sandwich, right? So the top piece is report, the bottom piece is the close, and the middle is your meat or your educational pieces. So we're going to spell out the word sandwiches because I want you to know how you can just deliver that sandwich on a silver platter to your audience. So we're going to start, so spell out the word sandwiches. All right, we're going to use that acronym. Okay, so the S stands, people are coming in. Dr. Renee's coming in. Hello, Karen. Hello, Philip. Hello, everyone. You're just in time. We're just starting. Hello. All right, so we're spelling out sandwiches, and we're talking about how to deliver a speech on a silver platter. How to deliver your speech on a silver platter. So the S stands for, we want to start with an attention grabber. We always start our speech, no matter how long it is, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 5 hours, we always start with an attention grabber. Whether we're in our room or whether we're in somebody else's room, that's how you start it. It doesn't matter. Whether you're doing a video or whether you're doing a Facebook Live, we always start with an attention grabber. That's how $1 million speakers start. So there's lots of different ways you can grab your audience's attention. And in the training we're going to have this weekend, I'm going to explain each of the ways that I recommend for speeches. But when you develop your attention grabber, just think of it either as questions or think of it as a statement. It's not a story, and it's not 5 or 6 questions. It's very brief. It's an attention grabber. It's just something you say to grab your audience's attention in the first 3 seconds that you appear or after you've been introduced. So it's very quick, but very powerful. Whatever it is, whether you're going to ask questions or it's a statement, you want to blast it out to your audience. So if you're soft spoken, this is when you want to be loud. So you don't want to just kind of like you want to full energy and just deliver that as much as fast and as loud as you possibly can. All right, so we start with an attention grabber. Grab your audience's attention. Hello, Benita. Good morning. Good afternoon. I like your backstage, their curtains. That's cool. All right. So the A we're spelling out sandwiches. So make sure you're taking copious notes because this is how you deliver that speech on a silver platter. All of these things, you need to do all 10. So it's not like you pick and choose. All of them you need to do. They all need to be incorporated into your speech. So A is ask permission to share your story. Now, we talk a lot about in this masterclass sharing your professional story. There is a distinction between your professional story and your personal story. Personal stories are, oftentimes, things very personal. And you can share some of that if you're comfortable doing so, that's fine. But the professional story, I'm talking about the story that earns you the right to be speaking about your topic, the story that tells us how you got into the business that you're in, what was that journey like? So it's not necessarily, we don't care what happened to you at 5 years old, right? Unless that's what your whole speech is about. Got it? So the professional story earns you the right to be speaking about what you're speaking about. We don't have to go way back in time, only back as far as when you first got into this particular business. Keep it in mind, people love rags to riches, They love, broke to millionaire. They love outhouse to penthouse. They love that kind of thing. They love how you transition. So even in my story, I was not a speaker. I thought I could speak. And so I stepped out on stage with only one speech class behind me and thought that that was enough, and learned very quickly that I was lousy, that I sucked at public speaking because I wasn't trained. So that's a rags to riches story, because now I make my living through speaking. So that's what you're going to do too. Some big contrast on how you got to be where you are today.
I got to see that office building.
Okay, so Benita, I'm going to mute. There you go. Thank you. Okay. So you'll always want to ask permission, though, before you share that story. I've seen a lot of people that just go and start to talk about their background and they didn't ask permission. Now, in the beginning, remember, you're in rapport. The very top piece of bread in your speech sandwich is rapport. So you want to make sure that you stay in rapport by asking permission to talk about yourself. Because in the rapport piece, it's about who? The audience, right? It's always about the audience. So if you're going to say something about yourself, you need to ask permission. And I like to do it just because it's a good way to get your audience to participate. And so oftentimes I will ask, and then I will do a head nod so that they will give me a head nod back. So it's fun to do things like that as well and get them engaged physically as well as mentally. All right, so the N, we're spelling out sandwiches, and the N is never let them see you sweat. So you never let your audience see you sweat. Now, how many of you have seen speakers or heard speakers and they can't come on stage, whether it's virtual or not, and they tell you how they're nervous? Right? They say, I'm nervous, I'm not ready. Or they can say things like, they can say things like that. Sorry, let me stop it. Okay. Somebody is texting me because the text didn't go out today, right? None of you got my text, right? None of you got my text. So I texted them and said, where's my text? So now they're calling me about that. I didn't expect them to call me about that. But anyway, so never let them see you sweat. So sometimes people will say another way that people say something inappropriate is they'll say, well, this is a 1 hour speech, but I only have 30 minutes. So who did they just throw under the bus? Right? Who did they throw under the bus? The person that invited them to speak for it, right, Gloria? I mean, the very person.
Is it the event planner, Arvee?
Yes. Well, whoever invited you, whether it's the president of the organization, an event planner of the event, and they just threw that person under the bus because they're saying, well, that person only gave me 30 minutes. So we don't want to do anything like that either. Again, it's a way that you're showing that, either you're unhappy, but what it tells me is that the audience, you didn't care enough about the audience to recreate your speech and take it from an hour speech to 30 minutes or from 30 minutes to 15 minutes. That's what we need to do as speakers. That's why I love my sandwich metaphor, because you can just take out some of the meat. If you don't have as much time, or if you get more time, you add more of the meat. So you can really be flexible without recreating your entire speech. So never let them see you sweat. Never say you're sorry. Never say, you're nervous, even if you might be. You never say it. Don't say you're unprepared. Don't say you're ready. Your audience deserves better than that. And so do you. So you might be a little nervous. You just keep it to yourself and proceed. And again, that's why I like that attention grabber and why I talked about it first, because if you feel a little bit of those nerves or your knees are knocking a little bit, by taking that powerful attention grabber and just screaming it out to your audience is a way to take that nervous energy, give it to your audience, and then, of course, it'll come back to you as energy. So it's kind of like it transforms into energy, especially on live stages, but still even in the virtual world. Remember the virtual world, you want to just feel like you're coming right through that screen, right? Just like right through that camera, especially on your attention grabber. Okay, so never let them see you sweat at all. And even afterwards, don't say anything. Keep it to yourself. Tell your dog, right? Tell your child, tell your stuffed animal, tell your husband, tell your wife, whatever, but do not share it with anybody in your audience. All right, so let's go to the D. Now, the D is for deliver valuable content. Now, here's what you want to do. You want to over-deliver without overwhelming. So you want to deliver great content. That means your best content, your most innovative content. Don't hold out, but give them the best. Give them the latest trends. That's what people want. Give them what other people that do what you do won't. That's the best way to put it. Give them what others won't give them. And again, don't overwhelm them with too much. It's better to have less and go deeper, like a deeper dive, than to have more and have it just be a whole bunch of lists of things, because people will tune out after a while because they're not getting their needs met. They're not getting what they need. So they're just tuning out. It's too much. They feel overwhelmed and they just shut down. So better to do less. So in a 30-minute speech, you can do approximately 5 pieces of meat or 5 teaching points. That's it. Don't try to do too much. Now I have 30 minutes and I'm going to do a lot. I'm doing 10 points, but I'm a little bit, I should say, more experienced than some, so I can get away with it. But on a live stage, I wouldn't do this much. In a teaching situation, you can do more in less time. But again, a live speech, you've got time for your professional story. You've got time for rapport. I mean, I didn't do any of that here today because this is an ongoing class. And then you've got time for your close, which I'm not going to do a close because, again, this is an ongoing class. So you need to make sure you have that kind of time for your rapport building piece and for your close. So only about 5 points, maybe 7 in a 30-minute talk. And if it's a 15-minute talk, which is what we're seeing a lot more of today, then 3 points, no more than 5 points, teaching points. The less you have, the deeper you can go. Just know that. And you can, because you still want room for stories. You want to demonstrate maybe. So there, you have to put a lot of other things into it to make it interesting. Maybe you want a success story in there to prove your point. All right. So you need time for that. So deliver valuable content. Now, the W is what this is really important, especially in the online world. Watch for clues from your audience. Now, this is going to be tricky with you as a speaker because I'm going to tell you right now, you need to be looking at the camera just like I've been doing. But there's going to be times where you've got to kind of look around and do a quick check, just like you do in your audience. Now, remember that one of the biggest differences between a virtual audience and a live audience is when you're looking at everybody in a live audience, you can see everybody, right? One by one by one, and you want to do eye contact, at least 3 to 4 seconds per person. So we want to do that. And then everybody's looking at you. In this environment, everybody's looking at everybody else, right? And you have to look at the camera, so it's totally doesn't make sense. So you want to look for clues in your audience. So you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to do a little check, make sure that people are paying attention, that they're not on their phones or they're not multitasking or whatever it is. So look for clues. If people are yawning, maybe you need to step it up a little bit. If people are fanning themselves, especially in a live audience, maybe it's too hot. And as the speaker, you're in charge of everything during that 30 minutes or whatever time you have to speak. So you're in charge even of the air conditioner. So that's when, if a lot of people are fanning themselves, right? They've got fans and they're fanning themselves. Then it's time to say, oh, excuse me, could we get the air turned on here? Because again, you're in charge and the audience will love you for that. If it's one person, well, they might be just having their own personal summer. You know? So take care of your audience. Look for those clues so that you can take care of them. If for some reason, live or otherwise, you feel that your audience is kind of going to sleep a little bit, maybe you've given them a lot of content and a lot of deep content, and maybe they're, it's a little bit much, just change the state. Change their state. How do you do that? Tell them to stand up and get in their hero pose. Right? So get in your hero pose, Superman or Superman, Wonder Woman, whatever it is. It's a nice, fun technique. I didn't make it up, but I do use it from time to time. I also change the state if maybe somebody just shared a very sad story on the stage and we need to mix it up a little bit and get people back on track. That's another way or reason you would change the state. So there's ways to change, direction for your audience, but you are in charge as the speaker. Invite them. The I is for invite them to take the next step with you. And I've talked about this at great length. This is the part where you want to invite your audience to some sort of action, to take some sort of action, whether it's sign up for a strategy session with you so you could do a one-on-one, whether it's give you their email address so you can send them a free gift, whether it's selling something, whatever it is, it's your duty as a speaker to give your audience a way to get more of you, a way to take the next step with you, because you've just opened their hearts. They thought in their minds and they thought, okay, you are the solution to my problems. Where have you been all my life? I need you. And if you don't have a way to give them more, then it's really a disservice to them. So there's a lot of speakers that don't. I'm talking about business speakers. Now, if you're a motivational speaker and you're just getting paid to motivate, or a humorous speaker like Benita, and she's getting paid for ventriloquism, then maybe they don't, maybe she doesn't have a close. However, I always would recommend a close for Benita, right? If you would like to know more about how to invite me to your parties, come and see me after the meeting, right? So just a simple little close, a simple little statement. If I've inspired you in any way, come and tell me about it. I'd love to hear about it. See, it's a way for them to take action, and it's a way for them to contact you. It's permission for them to come up to you and ask questions or ask for more information to get what they need. But it still is considered an invitation. Next is, okay, we are on the C. We're spelling out sandwiches. All right. Hello, is that Jason I see? Yep. Hey, Jason, good to see you. You're out and about as usual. Good to see you. Right? But it looks like you're parked right now. Good. All right. Don't want you driving and stuff. Okay. So the C is for captivate them with stories, and not just tell stories, but I want you to learn how to become a great storyteller and captivate them. So they're not thinking of anything else. They are so captivated. They are part of your story. They are in your story. And that takes a lot of time and practice. I'm a professional storyteller. What does that mean? It means I've been trained and I've gotten paid, So I am a professional. But a good way to start storytelling is go back to your old folk tales, fairy tales, read those and tell them to your children, tell them to your family, put it on Facebook, do a video of a storytelling time. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of gold in the way fairy tales are written and how you can tell your story. All right. Captivate them with stories. Now we're going to go to the H. We're going to go to the H, and the H is for honor the host and your audience. Let me see if that's them now. I don't know who that is. Sorry about that. I usually unplug it, and I forgot. So I apologize for that. All right. So honor the host and the audience. Okay, I hope it's done. Honor the host and the audience. So how do you do that? You do that by thanking them for inviting you, thanking them and getting everybody else in the room to thank them. So you would say something like, and I want to thank Dr. Renee Gordon for inviting me here to speak to you today. Let's give her a big round of applause, right? So that's an honor. It's more than just, hey, yo, thank you. It's an honor. You're calling her by her right name. I said, Dr. Renee Gordon. I didn't say, yo, Renee, yo, right? I called her with respect. You want to thank them, clap for them, thank your audience for being here, thank them for their time, their energy, right? You can applaud for your audience being here, right? In this kind of environment, one of the things I like to do is I always say, do high fives to the screen next to you, right? So everybody give me a high five your screen, right? Yeah, then that's a good way to do it. Yeah, all right. So you can still do some of the things we used to do on the live stage, but be creative and again, honor your audience and honor your host. The E is for elevate their spirits with hope. As a speaker, our job is to give hope. And I say, elevate your audience always. Make them feel better when they leave your presentation than when they first came in the door or the Zoom room. Elevate their spirits and make them feel good. You know, make them feel good by saying yes and thank you and all of that. Make them feel good, calling them by name. And the S is for show them the love and respect that they deserve throughout your presentation. So show them love and respect throughout your presentation. So you see, I stop and greet people in Zoom. I wouldn't stop on the stage, but there's nothing worse than coming into a Zoom room and not have anybody acknowledge you, right? So even if it's a little bit of an interruption, to me, it is worth it because you're all very important. To me, you're all very important to learn these lessons, and you're all chosen to learn these lessons because every day I pray for the people that God wants me to teach, to bring them to my classes, bring them to this meeting. You're the chosen ones for today that needed to hear this message, or you wouldn't be here. So I want to thank all of you for whatever it took for you to get here. Jason's driving. Arlene is in New York. She's 3 hours later for her, right? There's something that all of you had to do. Benita's in Kansas. It's late there. All of you had to do something and arrange something or not have dinner or, CJ tells his kids to stay out the door for a while or whatever it might be. But I want to acknowledge that. And you should acknowledge that as well in your audiences, that they did something outrageous probably to be there with you at that particular time and hour. So honor them, love on them, both physically, when we're in the physical room as well as when we're in the virtual room. So a lot of people forget. And so they think virtual speaking is so different. And it is because people are making it different, right? They're not doing what they would do on stage. And I'm advocating, do what you do on stage. Just do more of it here because we've got a barrier. So our barrier is here in these Zoom rooms. It's as if you were standing behind a lectern. right? We talk about that all the time. Do not stand behind a lectern. A lectern was designed in the old days, in the king and queen days, when people would say, countrymen, lend me your ear. And people would throw tomatoes and everything. So the lectern was a shield that you would hide behind so that you wouldn't get smacked in the face with a rotten tomato. But nobody's going to throw anything at you anymore, live stage or virtual. So on the live stage, I say, get rid of the lectern, never stand behind it. I don't even care if the microphone is there. Either take the microphone off, or if it's a goose head, you turn it sideways and stand next to the lectern, because it's a barrier between you and the audience. And that's exactly what we have here, is a barrier between ourselves and the audience. So to break that barrier, you have to not only do all 10 steps of these 10 steps, but you have to bring that energy on, and the verbal energy and physical energy, and look at that camera, and really develop that speech, and memorize it, and practice 1 hour for every 2 minutes, so you're really good at it and confident. And you just have to do more than what you would do on the live stage to even be better and to break through to the other side. So that's how you deliver your speech on a silver platter. Amen. All right, so we're right at 4:30. That's exactly the right time. So now I'm going to go around the room. This is your opportunity to ask questions. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about, now is the time to ask those questions. If there's a comment that you want to make, or even something you want to add to this list, I'm open. Make comments. All right. So we are going to start in the order that you jumped in the room. So I'm going to start with Alice. Now, remember, if you turn off your video, you go down to the bottom, right? So you might have came in earlier, but you end up at the bottom. So I always recommend you just cover your screen so you don't lose your place. All right, let's go to Alice.
So ask permission to share your story. How do you introduce that? How do you,
Right? Very good question. So would it be okay if I just shared a little bit about how I got here today?
Okay.
Or would it be okay if I shared a little bit about my background? Or would it be okay if I just shared a little bit about myself? So there's many ways to say it. It's just, however you want to say it, but would it be okay? Would it be okay with you? You're asking permission. May I share my story with you today? I don't like share my story. I like more like would it be okay to share a little bit about how I became the master speaker trainer? That's usually how I say it. So you might say, the expert, whatever expertise, right? So you're an expert in finances. So that I became the money, expert that I am today, or whatever. Yeah.
Thanks, very helpful.
Good question, Alice. All right, let's go to Arlene. I mean. Let's go to Arlene. Arlene, is that like your mom and dad's name put together? How'd you get that name?
Yeah, well, kind of. The story behind my name is my first name is actually Hazel, which is my mother's first name. But my mother was never called Hazel a day in her life, and there was never any intention of calling me Hazel. But in the hospital, I was actually named Hazel Irene. My dad's mom at that point said, you cannot name your firstborn child after her mother and not her father. And so my grandmother changed my name to Earlene. My dad's name is Earl.
Awesome. Okay. I love it. Well, my name is my mom and dad's name. So my initials, Ray, they're from Ray and Vivian, RV. And they just added some letters. Yeah. Very clever. But I like the name Hazel too. I think that's a neat name. It's not one you hear very often. All right, Earlene, thank you. What is your question?
I didn't have a question. One of the things I struggle with, though, is asking permission. because I've heard a number of different people that really teach kind of against that. And I know that it always hits me personally a little wrong.
Really?
And yeah, it does. And because it feels like it's taking away some of your power, and I don't necessarily, and part of this comes back from not trying to hit the very front end of your speech so hard with your credentials, but weaving them more throughout your entire speech, allowing it to show through your expertise and not trying to stand on your credentials per se. And so that's where, as you're going through this list, that's the thing that hit me.
Yeah, well, in your professional story, you're not really going to talk about credentials. Your credentials, I mean, not per se like your.
Yeah, but it's still it's the same kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's the how come I can teach this.
Right. Well, it could be, but the professional story that I'm talking about is just simply, how did you get to be where you are today? I mean, how did you become, a virtual strategist? I want to know before I listen to you. I want to know why I should listen to you.
Right.
Right. Who are you to tell? Right. So that's kind of like, as an audience member, people are thinking, well, who are you exactly? Yeah, we heard your bio a little bit, but how did you get to be, doing, what you're doing now? How'd you become that tax expert? How did you become like CJ has a fun story, and Jason has a story about, well, one day I'll have him share it, but I'm not going to put him on the spot right now. But they're all when you develop the right professional story, it not only earns you the right, but it opens the hearts of your listeners, and it earns their trust and their love, right? So it isn't about a story like about me. It's not. That's not how I teach you to tell that story.
Yeah. And I don't know that I was trying to suggest it was that, but it's just more of the statement of, do I have your permission to share my story? That in and of itself is setting the stage for, I'm going to sell you on who I am. And that, again, it's in my head, and that again is from the background and the perspective of places I've been. So I'm here to open my mind and heart to learn new things.
Good.
I'm just sharing what actually just hit me, and what has always, as people get up and say that instantly is that moment of, you're on this stage. I don't need you. You don't need to ask my permission to be on this stage, I guess, is a little bit of kind of where I come from. So but again, it's
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, in my system, you're in rapport. So because we're in rapport, that's why I recommend that you ask permission of your audience, and not like, may I have your permission? No, it's just like, would it be okay if I just shared a little bit? Would that be okay with you? And now you're getting them, you're asking them a question. So their mind is alert, because their mind wants to answer it. And now you physically got them involved because they're going, yes. So, I mean, it's just part of the rapport and the attention grabber to keep your audience's attention.
Yeah.
So that's
and I can appreciate that part of it. So I just, like I said, it goes against several of the other places I've been and other speaker training that I've
forget all those other speaker trainers.
Yeah. Well, we're the combination of all of our history. So
forget all those. You don't need them anymore. Okay. Well, I hope we can open up your mind for some new things, Arlene. Absolutely. And who's that little guy?
Hi.
Hi.
This is Xander.
Sweetheart. Hello, everybody. Say hi. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go to CJ. CJ, do you have any questions or comments on our lesson today?
Hello. Thank you so much. I have it for anyone who may have missed any of the points. I put it all in the chat box for you, so help yourself to any of those. I also put it into the Facebook group, and I will also bring up now as an opportunity to say, if you have not yet joined our Facebook group, please feel free to do that. And I'll also share the link to that as well.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, CJ. If you want to reach out to anybody in this group, you do that in the Facebook group. If you want to just invite people to events, put that in the Facebook group. So it's all in one place. So now we can go there and we can cruise around and see who's doing what. And all the lessons will be in there as well. So the recording will be in there, and also, upcoming lessons. So go there for all the information. When I have handouts, they'll be in there. I don't have handouts on a regular basis because I find that if you take your own notes, you retain the information better. But again, this will be in there. CJ's always does it for me and puts it in after the fact. So thank you so much, CJ.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. All right. We missed you last week.
Yes, and I'd love to say that even though I wasn't here, I was able to catch up with the recording, and it feels like I was here because I watched the whole thing. I took notes just as if I was present, so I didn't miss a thing. So except
Yay!
Which might be better for you. And
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks
So there's a couple of ways that you can get the recordings. There's a passionately-speaking.com. All of the audio recordings are on there. So it's kind of like a podcast where you can download it and listen to it as you're running or doing something else. And then I also load them. We load them up. The link, I load them to YouTube and put the link in the Facebook group. So if you want to see the whole video recording, they will be there, but they're there the next day, not the same day. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. And hello, Clemmy. I see you've got your back turned to us, but I know you're here. So hello, good to see you. All right. So Philip is out. So let's go to Karen. Karen, you're up.
No question, Arvee. Just great to be here. This is my second week, so still learning a lot. Excited to be back.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, Karen was part of this program years and years ago when we were on teleclasses. And now she's back. So welcome. Again, this is a lifetime opportunity. So, some people come for years and then they might skip a year or two and then come back. So you can come and go as you please, but I hope you stay because we, like Dr. Renee and CJ and several of the people they've been around week after week after week. Jason built quite a community of trust and business together. So there's, so you're going to, just by getting to know each other, be top of mind and do some business together, even though that's not a business event, networking group. It just happens. Right, CJ? You've gotten quite a few. Yeah, quite a bit of business. All right, excellent. Let's go to Gloria.
Thank you, Arvee. I did have a question. When you're doing a Zoom presentation and you do happen to notice that maybe people are looking at their phones, so how do you get them to change their state during a Zoom?
Same way, I'd say, okay, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. We're going to get into the pose. Come on, everybody stand up. Woohoo! And yeah, get them to do that. Absolutely. Or we're going to do a fun exercise and then, whatever. You have to be creative, but I recommend that you always have something up your sleeve. So I always just do the hero pose. Have something up your sleeve. If it's not that doesn't fit your audience, then have something. Okay. All right. So very good question, Gloria. Yeah. And again, you could say do high fives, right? Anything physical. Yeah, we'll do it. But standing up, that brings it all on. All right, let's go to Benita. Is that a real curtain or is that a virtual curtain?
That is a virtual curtain. And I'm playing with a couple different colors. Because I've got a blue one and whatnot. So what's my question? There, which do you like better? That's not my question, but anyway. I'm concerned about setting myself up with too much free ventriloquism. I mean, that sounds weird. I emceed a show Saturday for a fundraiser, and now she's talking about maybe doing some more. And I want to, I need to start getting paid for it. I used to get paid in my 20s.
What is your question, sweetie?
Is it possible to do too many free shows and then set up a precedent?
No. When you're starting out, free is good, right? I mean, I used to do my one day where a lot of you came from for free for several years. And I would take it, I took it to Hawaii, I took it to San Diego, all cities all around, right? But then there came to a point where it was like, okay, I don't need to do this for free anymore. So I did it for a small fee because people show up more for what they pay for, right? So you're just starting out. So I would do free for a while till you build your database, establish yourself as the humorous ventriloquist expert. You'll know when that time is, Benita, and then start charging and charge a little bit. Now, you're doing a free event because you're giving people a taste. Doesn't mean it has to be all day. 30 minutes, an hour tops, and that's all. Right? So you don't have to do, show all your puppets and all that, all your tricks. Save some of the best stuff for, people that pay for it. But get yourself out there like you're doing. You're doing Facebook Lives every day. You're getting out there. I'm seeing new puppets every time you do it. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that one. I just saw something that was green the other day. What was that puppet? So keep getting out there for a while. You'll know when it's time to
Well,
charge.
it's frustrating because I've gotten paid. The highest I've ever gotten paid is $1,000, but I'm starting all over again. I used to get paid years ago.
Well,
So
you're
anyway.
jumping back into a new market, honey.
Yeah.
New market. The virtual world is a lot different. So make sure that at the end of the free events, though, that you do have a close where you're inviting them, to do a strategy session or to talk about a party there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing virtual events and being the entertainment at VIP night.
Mm-hmm.
That people will pay for.
And by the way, I met Erlene earlier today at another event.
Nice.
Fun seeing her here. I didn't know she was in this group.
Yes, she is. Okay. Dr. Renee has her hand up. She's now in the left-hand corner of my screen. Are you good with that, Benita?
Yeah.
Take me for now, and you'll know when it's time to start charging for those events. But you have to give people a taste. Yeah. All right. Dr. Renee, where'd you go?
Yeah, hi, honey. I'm here. I didn't hold my hand up. I was touching it by mistake. So I don't want to be in front of I don't want to take cuts. I forgot. I didn't mean to have my hand up. So I don't.
Actually, we passed you because you ended up there. So you saw it a couple of times ago. So it's all good.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't like to take cuts. It's not nice to do that. The presentation today was excellent. I've heard it before, Arvee, but again, I hear it with fresh ears and it's all new again. And thank you so much for refreshing me and the reminders. Also, thank you to CJ for always posting all your notes. So complacent. It's just perfect. Everything's so precise. He's so efficient, proficient as well. And then he does it on Facebook. It just you guys work so well together, and it's just a stellar team.
And he does it out of the goodness of his heart.
From his heart, yes. And he has a huge heart. So
that's right.
I want to acknowledge both you and CJ as well. So it's perfect. Everything is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Renee. And did all of you go to Facebook and see the post about Dr. Renee? Yeah. So she just lost, her beloved puppy, John Luke. He's one of one of the only, one of the 3 dogs that I've trained that's come to my speaker training, you know?
Yeah, he was the love of my, well, besides my husband, the love of my life. We have 4 little dogs, 3 Malteses and 1 poodle, but Jean-Luc was the poodle. He's been on 14 cruises on all my stages. And he was there for the book launch with 14,000 people at the convention center. And he was just a very good boy, just sits and sits still. Also want to welcome Erlene Arvee. I know her from another group, and she's a great contribution to your community. And it's definitely a positive to have her here in your community. So welcome, Arlene. Yes.
Awesome. All right. We're going to go to Philip now. Philip had his camera covered a minute ago, so we're going to backtrack to him. Do you have any questions, Philip?
Hi. Okay. I just been formed that our posse will be, because I used to go to a school called UEI years ago, and from 1995, what success I had after the graduation from there, working in IT, and so I was supposed to possibly speak at the different campuses about how UEI helped me to get started in IT and what success it has brought me. So what I'm preparing, like you mentioned about asking permission, to tell the story. So I think Alice already asked that one, and you already answered that question.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So.
All righty. And again, it's just, permission to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I get with you on it because I got to prepare. It's possibly going to happen in June. It's a lot of work. So.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep coming back. All right. Let's go to Cheryl Green. Cheryl, you're up.
Hey, family. Arvee, first of all, I just want to thank you for your acronyms. It just speaks to your preparation for us. And that means so much to me. I'm still very new. And I just look forward to coming. And
Good.
I'm so excited to be here. I did want to ask you and let you know that I do have a masterclass coming up, and I do need some assistance with Zoom and Facebook presentation. I'm willing to pay. I'm not asking for anything free. I just want to be professional because I represent you. I'm on your team. And so I just want to do everything right. And I've never done it before. So I definitely want to do it right. So any recommendations you have for who I should talk to get that help, that's fine with me. And then I lastly just want to say, I just want to make sure you did not send anything for this weekend that's coming up.
I did send it today, so you should have it. I sent it to your Cheryl online.
Okay, I'll look for it. I don't want to miss that.
I sent everything today, all the good stuff. And just in answer to your question for all of you, I do teach a class that's called Virtual Speaking Mastery, and it's a 3-part class. And so it has mastering Zoom, Facebook Live, and actual virtual mastery techniques. So it's a 3-part, it's like a 6-7 hour, 3 Saturdays, and for 2 to 3 hours each. And so that's like a steal of a price at $197.
Send me the link.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put the link in the Facebook group for all of you. I don't have it ready right now, but yeah, I'll put together the next class for that. And then all of you can go to that. So we'll do that like in a couple of weeks. Okay? You've got a lot on your plate right now with this weekend's class.
Thank you so much.
Arvee, what day is the class that you were just mentioning for 197? Is that a 3-day?
Yeah, but remember, you did it, sweetheart.
Are we not allowed to do it a second time?
Yes, sure you can.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's 3 Saturdays, and it's from 10 to 12:30.
Okay.
So 2.5 hours for times 3. Right? And
I'll
it's
be there.
good. Okay. And it's hands-on. I mean, it's hands-on.
What's the date, Arvee? What's your dates?
I don't have them now.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm putting it together for you, Cheryl and Philip. So I'll do the next one, but I've already did a whole, several series of those over this last year. So I will put another series together. Okay? And give you all, so I'll bring it to you next week. Okay? All right.
Thanks.
Excellent. Yeah, good. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up, Cheryl. All right, let's go to Lori.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you.
Nice to hear you.
Thank you. I usually use a board or a PowerPoint. And how does that work when you're doing speeches?
In the virtual world or on live stages?
Well, right now it's mostly virtual, but at some point I'm hoping to go live. And will I still be able to use a PowerPoint and have a powerful speech? Or I use my board a lot too.
Well, the problem is that we don't have a lot of time. Usually we have, like, speeches are getting to be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes tops. So when you're in a live event, you need to just build rapport with your audience and be with them and have them, feel your energy. So I do not recommend PowerPoint, because in a live situation, who's going to bring the screen? Who's going to bring the machine, the projector? I mean, you have so much stuff you have to schlep. You never know where that event's going to be. And if they're going to have most of it, it might be at a restaurant. Nobody's going to have that equipment. So do you want to schlep it? I would say no, it's not worth it for 10, 15 minutes. If you have an hour, 90 minutes, maybe it's worth it, right? Because that's more of a workshop and a class. And you probably would do that in a workshop or class environment at a company or at a church or something like that. So it all depends on your environment and the time that you have to speak. But if it's a normal speaking engagement, I would say no, because every time you look at PowerPoint, you're disconnecting, right? Disconnect. And if you have a short amount of time, you don't have enough time to reconnect. So like, I'll do a PowerPoint in my live three-day $1 million speaker summit, because I've got 3 days to reconnect and connect at break and connect at lunch and connect. So I'm not worried about it. But you'll never see me use a PowerPoint on any other stage,
Okay.
right? Except my 1 day or my 3 day. Is that true? My longtime students, right? Yeah. And so I don't recommend it. Now, in this environment, I recommend it, but I recommend a hybrid of it so that it's not just PowerPoint. So what I recommend is in the rapport piece, right? Your first part of your speech, when you're building rapport, you don't have PowerPoint. You're just talking. Ask the host to spotlight you. You know what a spotlight is, right?
No.
Okay. So the host has permission. So I'm going to spotlight a handsome man right now. Right? Ta-da! Right? So that's a spotlight. He's spotlighted for all of us. So it's not like we have to be in speaker view or any of that. He is spotlighted. So you ask, and I have to physically remove the spotlight and go to gallery to put him back in normal. So you do that, spotlight it, and then tell your story, right? You get all the rapport pieces out of the way. When you go into the content, that is when you switch to PowerPoint. And then your close, a little bit of PowerPoint, but then you switch it off and you finish out your close with you once again. So it's kind of a hybrid. Otherwise, you could get lost and not build that rapport and not have that connection if it's strict PowerPoint. I saw someone recently do a PowerPoint and they turned off their video altogether. I don't recommend that. if the person spotlights you, then you will be spotlighted without everybody else on your PowerPoint as well. So again, I encourage you to, all of you, to ask the host, if you're speaking, to please spotlight you and keep you in spotlight until you close.
And if you are the host and everything, how do you spotlight you? Because most of the time I don't have like I'm the host, I'm everything. And I see if people shaking their heads.
You just spotlight yourself.
But how do you spotlight? I don't think I have that feature.
Well, you do if you're the host. Okay. So when you're the host, you go up to the square. Again, we'll cover this in the Zoom training. You probably want to come to that. Okay. But you go to the 3 little dots in the upper right-hand corner of the person that you want to spotlight.
Oh.
And if it's you, it's you. Only the host has it, not the co-host, right, CJ? So CJ's my co-host, so spotlight somebody. Well, not me. Okay, so now CJ spotlighted both of us. So this is how you do a panel. So if you have a hot seat or you have a panel, you want yourself and whoever's on the panel. You see how that works?
Okay.
Yeah. So
now, next time I get on Zoom, I'm going to try to figure out Spotlight. That's cool.
Yeah, it really.
Because otherwise, you have to pay for a webinar.
No, you have that on the meeting. On the webinar, you don't get that. On the webinar version, they have panelists. So you can only see the panelists. And you have to make people, the host has to make people a panelist. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
A little different. Yeah, not as easy. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Lori. Good question. All right, let's go to Jason. We just got a couple real quick ones. Hang with us for about 5 more minutes, and then we'll end our call today. Jason.
I'm going to look forward to receiving the recording and review, and I'll have questions offline.
All right, thanks, Jason. All right, Michelle.
Great to be on the call.
Good to have you. Michelle.
Well, I just want to say I absolutely love this group. I'm learning so much, and I'm so glad I'm a part of it. And I can't wait for Saturday.
Friday. We start Friday.
I mean Friday. Yes,
no, right. From Saturday. Friday and Saturday. Did you get the email for the class?
I did. Yes. So one of my questions that I have is I would love to be a better storyteller or being able to put them together. And so is that one of the things we will learn this weekend?
We're going for your professional story. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If and when, ladies and gentlemen, you want the other one, I have a 2-day storytelling class called Story Selling Summit.
Okay. Story
selling. That's what we're going to do. But that we can, do in the future. But yeah, that's a 2-day class.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
All about storytelling. That's all it is.
Well, then make that sooner versus later.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, right after. Okay. You're all of you are going to keep me busy. I can tell. All right, Clemmy, you're up.
Great. So I was looking here. Okay. So I have a funny story, which is on the nervous thing. When I did the Comedy Store, I actually use that to set up a joke. I was nervous, but I needed it to set up a joke.
Okay.
But the other thing is on this deliver valuable content, overgive without overwhelm. Right. So I have a tendency to overwhelm.
Okay.
And so I'm just wondering, are there any techniques or advice or how you know when you're like, in other words, I think I'm so focused on making sure it lands that I can't always tell if it landed. So even my nephew said, and part of it's the brain injury, said, Aunt Clemmy, he goes, what's really funny about you is you finish talking, you keep talking.
Well, one technique that'll help that is to, of course, outline the meat, right? So have your acronym or 5 points and then rehearse. and time yourself. So the meat, like if let's just tear apart a 30-minute speech for a minute. You got 7.5 minutes for the opening, right? 7.5 minutes for the close and 15 minutes for the meat. So you can time yourself and you have to stay within that 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that's a technique you could use to stay on track. Rehearse.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, and we've got Brenda. Brenda's been with me forever. Brenda, are you going to say hello to us today? Brenda, are you listening?
Yes, I am. How are you? It's been a while since I've been on, but I really enjoyed today. I just really enjoyed being back and listening to you again. And I enjoyed the presentation. I don't have a question or anything.
Yeah, we enjoy you being back. And your daughter, how's your daughter doing? She coming back?
Yeah, she's doing good.
Good. Awesome. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our call today or our training today. And again, if you're joining me this weekend, Friday and Saturday, it is for the Create Your Speech in a Weekend. If you don't want to be left out, just text me at 909-645-9147, and I'll tell you how you can join us. Otherwise, it's Friday and Saturday, and I hope all of you received your manuals and are ready to go. We're going to have a really great couple of days. All right. So we will see you all back here next Tuesday for another super duper call. All right. You get those speaking engagements and get out there and speak. And remember, when you do speak, to always speak with passion. Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Good night. Thank you for.
All right. Good night, everyone.